Hi, I'm Sasha Rockmaretsky, nutritionist and chef on Sasha's Guilt-Free Pleasures. This is the show where all of the food is delicious and guilt-free. Today, we're going to take you on a Mediterranean adventure. This is our companion, Ananda Leela. Her name means blissful play. So get ready for some guilt-free pleasures. So we're going to start by making a frittata, which might be an intimidating dish for some, but it's really impressive when you get it right, and it's actually not as hard as it looks. So we have our organic free-range eggs, and I use free-range eggs because they have a much higher nutritional value and the flavor cannot be beat by regular factory farmed eggs. So we're going to crack the eggs into a bowl. And I'm going to add some almond milk because it is a dairy-free frittata, and whisk it up in the bowl. The almond milk makes the eggs super fluffy and have that nice, ideal fluffy texture. So I'm going to whisk up the eggs with this almond milk. And the other thing that makes eggs really fluffy, so whether you're making scrambled eggs, a frittata, or an omelet, the two things you can do to get that fluffy cloud-like texture for eggs is add milk, whether it be a non-dairy or a regular milk, and mix it a lot. That aerates the eggs and makes it really delicious. So we're mixing it until we start to see some air bubbles, and then I'm mixing it a little bit longer to ensure we get that fluffy, heavenly cloud texture. So I'm done whisking, and I'm going to set my egg and almond milk mixture aside. And I'm going to start prepping the vegetables. And the knife that I'm using is a Wusthof knife. They're from one of the oldest forgeries in Germany. They're a family-owned company for 200 years. And what I love about Wusthof is their quality of blade. They use a special technology to get a very precise edge that needs less sharpening, and it cuts so smooth and it fits really well in my hand. I really like the company because they use environmentally sustainable practices and take measures at their factory to avoid polluting the water and air. And these knives are just so beautiful. Any home cook really needs a good set of knives, and Wusthof is an excellent company to go with. They make great gifts as well. So I'm also going to preheat in my pan some cooking oil. And I'm prepping an avocado as well. So in prepping an avocado, because there's a large pit, you want to slice all the way around the edge in the middle of the fruit. Then pull the two sides apart and remove the pit delicately. So you can either use a spoon to scoop out the avocado pit or the tip of a knife blade to pop it out. So to slice an avocado, you're going to put the tip of your knife in and slowly drag it along the edge of the avocado. So you should feel the tip of your knife in contact with the avocado skin. And as you do that, afterwards, you'll just be able to kind of squeeze and wiggle the avocado right out. And I'll show you that later when we're ready to use the avocado. Now my oil is all heated up and ready for the vegetables. We've got some spinach leaves here. So we're only going to cook these for a minute until the zucchini starts to soften and the greens are wilted. We're also going to add some salt, pinch of salt, and pepper at this point, black pepper. And this minced garlic, which is conveniently pre-minced from Gourmet Garden. Okay, and our frittata is ready. We want to make sure that the zucchini is all in a single layer here, because that will help the frittata come out nicely like we want it to. So I'm pouring in the egg. So I'm going to add a pinch of paprika on top of the eggs that I just poured in. And I'm also going to layer on these beautifully sliced tomatoes. This is a single tomato sliced very thin. So you'll definitely want to have a sharp knife to slice these tomatoes for the frittata. So now the frittata is ready to be placed in an oven preheated to 375 degrees and baked for about 30 minutes. Now that that's finished, we're going to clean up and move on to our next guilt-free pleasure.
Hi, food and fitness lovers, it's Chef Tina Martini. You might know me as the Medicine Chef. Be sure to check out Season 3 of Tina's Ageless Kitchen, only on Foody TV.
We're going to finish off our Mediterranean episode with a raw and dairy-free cheesecake. Cheesecake originated in Greece, so it fits our Mediterranean motif. And we're going to start with the crust. So we're going to put some pitted dates into the blender, some almonds, and these almonds are pollinator friendly. You may know that the bees have been experiencing something called colony collapse disorder, and you may also know that bees are essential for many varieties of fruits and vegetables that we eat. So it's important when you're buying almonds especially and other produce to make sure that it's organic and bee friendly or pollinator friendly. We're also going to add in a little bit of vanilla extract and some raw cacao powder. So I'm going to put the lid securely on the blender and turn it on. I'm going to pause it and use a spatula to push down the ingredients to make sure that they get evenly chopped. So now that our mixture is all blended up, we're going to put it in a chilled muffin tray. The muffin tray has been chilling for about 20 minutes. And that's going to help our cheesecake crust get the right texture and consistency. So it's likely that you'll have to scrape it out of the bottom of your blender. And then we're going to press it down into the muffin tin and up the sides to form a nice thick crust. So this cheesecake is, in addition to being dairy-free, is really healthy because it's made with all raw ingredients, whole food ingredients, and again, my favorite, raw cacao powder. So one of the best benefits of raw cacao powder is, just like these nuts, it has a lot of protein in it and healthy fats. So it's really a great alternative to processed cocoa because it retains all of those nutrients, and you know that not only are you feeding your soul really delicious, pleasurable food, you're also feeding your body really nutritious food. So one of the things that's notable about cacao is that it's really excellent for the skin. And that's because of its high mineral content, and minerals are really great for clear, glowing, healthy skin. So cacao in its raw form is an excellent food for healthy skin. And now I'm going to clean up my blender and finish up this raw, guilt-free cheesecake.
Hi, I'm Molly Bravo, the host of Organicopia. Stay tuned for more Foodie TV.
And now for the delicious filling of our guilt-free cheesecake. I soaked these cashews overnight in water so they're ready to be blended into a nice creamy texture. So I'll add those first into the blender. I'm also going to add maple syrup, which is an excellent sweetener. Although it's not raw, it does also have a lot of minerals in it, so it's a very, very healthy sweetener. This is coconut oil, which I'm going to add in there as well. It's preferable to pre-melt the coconut oil, which you can do by placing the bowl in warm water. This is some lemon juice, which will help give it that nice tart flavor that natural cheese has. And this is vanilla extract. So all the ingredients are in the blender and ready to be blended up. So now that our cashew mixture is blended to creamy perfection, it's ready to be filled into the crust of our cheesecake. So you want to fill each one up just to the edge of the crust, and it's going to be about 1/8 of a cup if you're using a regular size muffin tin. These can also be made in a regular pie pan, a regular size pie pan as a full size pie. And sometimes I make them in ramekins as well. So we're going to fill up our last pies, and after that, we also want to clean up the edges and just make sure that they look the way that we want to present them. So we're filling our last crust here. And we're about to chill them in the refrigerator. So I want to make sure the edges are cleaned up because that's how it's going to be formed and presented at the end. These cheesecakes are really delicious, topped with fruit such as cherries or raspberries. You can also sprinkle some chocolate chips or some cacao powder on the top of these cheesecakes to finish them off for serving. What we're going to do is we're going to chill them, and then they'll easily pop right out of the muffin tin onto a plate for a beautiful, raw, and guilt-free dessert.
Hi, I'm Todd Allen Lowe of Allen's Pantry, and you're watching Foody TV.
So we're going to continue our Mediterranean adventure with a gluten-free pizza. This is gluten-free because it is made with almond meal flour. This almond meal I ground up in the blender from whole almonds. I'm going to add 2 eggs, some coconut oil. This is about 2 tablespoons of coconut oil, a pinch of salt, and some finely chopped rosemary. I'm going to mix it all up very evenly. This recipe was given to me by my neighbor Samaya, who is a very healthy cook and makes really, really delicious food. You can go on my website to see all of the recipes on this show. The website is sashasguiltfreepleasures.com. And one of the great things about this crust is it makes a really healthy pizza. Not only does it come out rich, crispy, and satisfying, it's also a food that you can eat every day, guilt-free. I don't believe in diets or cheat days, so I want to make delicious, wholesome food every day that is also healthy, that I feel good about eating. I feel good about feeding to the people that I love. I feel that nothing says I love you like good, clean food. So we're almost done mixing up this crust. And then we're going to put it in our pizza pan and bake it for about 10 minutes. When you're working with almond flour crusts, you really want to pre-bake the crust. Otherwise, you'll end up with a soggy pizza. So now that it's ready and mixed up, we're going to put it onto the pizza pan and press it down until it's about a ½ inch thick. So this almond flour crust is just a really delicious, hearty food. I really love it because since my family is from New York, I'm a huge pizza fan. And I really like to eat pizza, but I eat a mostly gluten-free diet. I eat a dairy-free diet. And I definitely like to get as many whole foods as possible in my diet. And as much as yummy, gluten-filled ground flour, milled flour, and in pizza crust is delicious, it doesn't make me feel very good. So this almond flour crust is my secret remedy to the gluten-free pizza dilemma. We're about to pop it in the oven at 375 for about 10 minutes. And when we get back, we're gonna top it all off.
Check out That Crazy Chef, starring me, Chef Ernie, only on Foody TV.
So now we have our almond flour crust that was pre-baked in the oven, and we are ready to top the pizza. So I have these morel and shiitake mushrooms that I got dried from the store, and I soaked them in water to rehydrate them. And I'm slicing them thinly, so they're going to be part of our pizza topping. Once I found morel mushrooms in my backyard, and that was a really special treat. A lot of people go morel hunting on the right time of year after it rains. They go into the forest and search for morels because they're that special. So walking out into my backyard and finding morels was a really special treat. A lot of people say morels are the tastiest mushroom, and I agree. So we are going to put on this tomato paste onto our pizza crust. We're going to spread it around until it makes a nice thin layer. And I use tomato paste instead of tomato sauce because it's thicker and heartier and more flavorful, more of the kind of flavor that I like. You can also just use thinly sliced tomatoes instead of a sauce, or you could do a white sauce on this pizza. This crust is really just as delicious and versatile as a regular pizza crust. So I'm also going to add some garlic, some pre-minced garlic paste. I'm a huge fan of garlic. I think that it goes on almost anything. And I like quite a bit of it. So I'm also going to add these whole arugula leaves. Arugula has a bitter flavor. It's very similar to a lot of wild greens, like wild mustard greens, wild dandelion greens. You can also substitute those things. I call this a wild pizza because of the mushrooms. So you can go out and find some wild ingredients to put on top of here, even if you live in the city. It's really fun to go and forage your dinner. Just make sure you check with a credible book or an herbalist that you know to make sure what you're eating, especially with the mushrooms, is safe and edible and not poisonous. I've taken herb classes, and that's how I know. It's really good to learn what you can eat right out of your back door, and you'll never go hungry again. So I've added my mushrooms. I also have these thinly sliced roots. These are parsnip roots. They taste a lot like carrots. And we slice them very thin, and we're putting them on top of everything else here. And we're going to top it all off with some more Gourmet Garden lightly dried chili peppers, because I love these on my pizza. They just add a nice little kick. They're super fresh and flavorful. I'm also going to add some Gourmet Garden basil. Sprinkle that on top. It smells so delicious. I love basil, and of course that's a pizza staple. I'm going to add rosemary onto the top. I'm a big fan of rosemary as well, and we put some in the crust. We have some thyme leaves, so we're going to add those. I love thyme. It's one of my favorite spices, and it's one of my favorite herbs. It smells so aromatic with all these herbs. And this is oregano leaves. So we're going to add those as well. So our pizza is ready to go in the oven, but don't go away, because we're about to finish our Mediterranean adventure with a guilt-free dessert. So today on Sasha's Guilt-Free Pleasures, we made 3 Mediterranean-style dishes. We made this beautiful frittata, which I'm going to top with these fresh herbs and avocado. We made this gluten-free almond meal crust pizza, which is just one of the most beautiful and delicious smelling pizzas I've ever created. I'm really excited to eat this after the show. And we also made this raw cheesecake. Remember, you can check out the recipes on sashasguiltfreepleasures.com. And thank you for joining us on this Mediterranean-inspired episode of Sasha's Guilt-Free Pleasures. See you next time.